What's up? Corey Lennox here, Berklee alumnus, piano recording artist, and piano teacher. So today we're continuing on our journey of being a pianist, and let's see what the map has for us. Okay, we're still talking about chords. So specifically today we're talking about chord progressions. Now a chord progression sounds fancy, but all it is it's a pattern of say 3 or 4 chords that you're going to use to make your song. These are actually really fun and really powerful. This is where all of the stuff we've been talking about with scales and chords and all of that, this is where it starts to make sense. And one of the cool things about chord progressions is they are so ridiculously easy. Like the amount of payout you get for just this tiny little bit of effort is absolutely going to blow your mind. I want to make sure you stay till the end of the video because in this lesson I'm going to cover the legendary chord progression. This is one chord progression you can use to play literally thousands of songs. The next thing I'm going to cover is sort of the rules and logic behind making chord progressions so you can better understand it and learn how to do this on your own. So stay tuned and let's dive in. Okay, before we talk about anything else with chord progressions, I want to show you exactly, like I said earlier, just how ridiculously easy this is. So, you can play literally thousands of songs with one chord progression alone. And that chord progression is 1, 5, 6, 4. Okay, but what does that mean exactly? Well, if you've been watching my past videos, you've learned all the concepts you need to set you up for this. And if you haven't, I'll give you like a 30-second recap super quick here. Basically, all you need to know is that chords are not isolated things. They're actually part of a scale. So if I have a scale, that's 7 notes. And each of those notes can be turned into a chord. So 7 notes in a key and 7 chords in a key. If you don't know how to make scales or you don't know how to find the chords, go check out my previous 2 videos on that. But for now, let's just keep going. It's actually pretty simple. If I'm in the key of C, C is the first note, and therefore it is called the 1 chord. First note, first chord. Then D would be 2, E would be 3, F would be 4, G would be 5, and so on. Now, here's where the fun begins. We can use this chord progression to play so many songs. Let me walk you through it here. If I start on 1, that's a C chord, and then I'm going to go to 5, so I'm just going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I'm going to count from 5 to 6, so here's 5 to 6, do my chord there, and 6, 6, 5, back to 4, and there I have it. So I could play like, can you feel the love tonight? And she will be loved. She's just a small town girl, living in a lonely world. Okay, that's plenty of examples for now, but you get the idea. And quick side note, this is piano with Corey, not vocals with Corey, but you get the idea. The point is, if you can play some chord progressions, you can play songs so easily. And that's why I've been focusing on scales and chord theory and all the stuff I've been going over in these videos. The whole end goal is to get you to this point where you can just have fun and blast out some tunes. Now, obvious disclaimer here, as I always say, music is basically 2 elements, melody and chords. That's sort of my take on it. So right now, we're doing the chords. That is half of it. If you're a singer, your job could end right there. You could just play chords for the chord part and sing for the melody part. That is it. You could convince people you play piano, you could play songs and sing, you could do gigs. That's really all there is to it. But if you're not a singer, we're still missing half the equation, right? Because if I just play the chords without the melody over it, you don't know what it is. So that is where piano lessons, piano videos, all this stuff that I go over on YouTube, that is where that comes in. But again, if you're a singer, your job is done. Play some chords and sing over them. That's it. Okay, I'm sorry I'm like so hyped about this stuff, but we need to take a moment and actually like explain some things. So, chord progressions. Here is the rule. There are no rules. So people always ask me, they're like, Corey, can you teach me chord progressions? That's one of the main things that people are stoked to learn, and rightly so, as we just went over. But the advantage and the disadvantage is it is very open-ended. You know, we went over there's 7 chords in whatever key you're in. So I have seen any combination of those chords, like literally any combination you can think of, I've seen it. And so all that to say, there aren't a ton of rules that you need to know. The closest thing to a rule is this. Descending fifths are at the heart of our Western music. So what I mean by that is, if I go from one chord down a fifth to another, that's sort of at the basis of how we hear and understand music in our tonal system. So it's actually super basic. Let me show you. If I go from the 5 chord and I go down to 1, that's 5 notes, so down a fifth, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So going down a fifth like that, or just alternating between these chords, that is like every nursery rhyme is some version of or even Beethoven, or like Christmas songs. That's just so fundamental to how we even hear music. Now, of course, it doesn't have to be just 5 going to 1. It could also be like, say, 6 going to 2. Or maybe your chord progression will go 6, down a fifth to 2, down a fifth to 5, down a fifth to 1. So each of those times I just went down 5 notes and played a new chord. So if you were to do all descending fifths, you'd end up with a very classical sound. Something like this. But even that isn't like a rule, it's just that, hey, sometimes fifths sound good. That's it. Now, for modern music, typically we're using what are called the primary chords. So, you'll remember from the chord video that 1, 4, and 5 are major. They're also called the primary chords. They're the most common chords in any key, 1, 4, and 5. So there are thousands of songs you could play using just 1, 4, and 5. But in modern music, those are all kind of major key. Those are all a little bit happy. So we need something a little bit darker to balance it out, and that's where the 6 chord comes in. So the 6 chord has a little bit more sad of a sound. So here's 1, here's 4. Now listen, here's 6. So you may have heard it just got like so much more somber sounding. And if you're into all this, I do have an ear training course where I go over like how to hear all the different chords you'll need, all the different melodies, but that's outside the scope of this video. But yeah, so 1, 4, 5, and 6, if you can play those 4 chords, you can play pretty much any modern song you want. Yes, there are like maybe 20% or 15%, like there's some other chords they throw in there, but such a huge majority is some version of 1, 4, 5, and 6. So for instance, earlier I showed you a specific arrangement. I showed you 1, 5, 6, 4. Now I'm not going to get into a whole other set of songs, but let's start halfway through. Let's start on the 6th chord, and then we'll keep going to 4, and then loop back to 1, and then go to 5. I'm not going to get into like a million examples of that, but suffice it to say, you could play like a bazillion different songs using that arrangement of those 4 chords. So I could do like Coldplay. So that was just 6, 4, 1, and 5. Now, they may not always be in the same order as you just saw, and here's the other thing we need to talk about. They're not always going to be in the same key. So far I've been using the key of C as an example. But there's plenty of songs that are in any of the other scales we have. So that 1, 4, 5, and 6 chord, you're going to have to map it to different scales depending on what key your song is in. So this is exactly what I've been covering in my past few videos, and if you don't know how to make different scales, if you don't know how to map the chords within a key, you need to check out my scales video and my chord video. But just a quick little recap for those of you who already know this stuff. So if I was going to play a song in the key of G, my scale has an F sharp in it. So as I'm mapping out these chords, I have to remember F sharp. Check this out. G is the scale, so it's the first note, it's the one chord. Now I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the 5 chord. And I'm going to do my same chord shape, only remember F is sharp. Okay, now I'm going to go from 5 to 6, and 6, 5 to 4. And there you have it. I won't hesitate no more, no more. It cannot wait. I'm yours. So what you may have noticed is it still sounded like the song. Changing the key did not change the sound of the song. How is that possible? Why doesn't it sound different if I'm in a different scale? Well, here's the amazing thing and why I'm so stoked about music theory and ear training. All of this stuff, all of these concepts sound the same no matter what scale you're using. So in other words, the one chord is going to sound the same in every key. That chord progression, 1, 5, 6, 4, that's going to have the same sound no matter what key you're in. And this is how ear training and playing songs by ear, all of that, this is how it's possible. Because we don't have to learn hundreds and hundreds of different chords, we just have to learn 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Remember, it doesn't matter what key you're in, they're always going to sound the same. So if you get stoked about this stuff like I do, I mean, this isn't really the point of the video, but if you want to learn to play piano by ear, if you want to learn ear training, check out in the description my piano by ear course. I made a whole course on exactly how to do this. And the reason I'm so proud of my course is I did a lot of research looking at different courses, and a lot of them didn't even have exercises for your ears. It was just like music theory and no exercises on training. So that is not my course. I've got tons of listening exercises, tons of like action steps. Go check it out if you're interested. It's in the description box. So your action step for this video, I want you to just play around with chord progressions. You don't need to worry about rules. You don't need to worry about what's right or wrong. Just get in there. Even if you don't know scales or chords, just go to the key of C and move this shape around, you know. I promise you, whatever chord progressions you find, it's been done. As long as you stay within your key, keep that chord shape, you are going to be golden. We learned so much today. The first thing we covered was that chord progressions are just a pattern of chords that make up your song. The second thing we talked about is the 1, 5, 6, 4 legendary chord progression and how incredibly common and useful it is. Then we talked about how the closest thing to a rule with chord progressions is that descending fifths sometimes sound good. And lastly, we talked about how really there are no rules and you can just have fun as long as you're using the diatonic chords we talked about in the previous video in the series. I hope you found this video so valuable, and if you enjoyed it, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Also, feel free to drop a like, comment, and share it with a friend. Help spread the love and help other people learn how to play piano too. So until next time, this is Corey Lennox for Piano with Corey. Piano on.